Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Craver, and I'm here to read you a story called Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Hally Tosis. Hally Tosis is the name of the dog in this story, but it's also a word that means bad breath, so that's why it's a funny play on words. This story is by an author you might know, Dav Pilkey, who also wrote Captain Underpants and the Dog Man books. So I thought you would enjoy this story. Dog Breath by Dav Pilkey. There once was a dog named Hally who lived with the Tosis family. Hally Tosis was a very good dog, but she had a big problem. I bet you can guess what it is. Hally Tosis had horrible breath. Whenever Hally Tosis opened her mouth, horrible things happened. Maybe your dog has horrible breath. Look what happens to the paint on the walls. It peels off the walls. And the fish is upside down. And even the picture, Mona Lisa is pinching her nose. Hally Tosis's breath smells so bad. When the children took Hally Tosis for a walk, everyone else walked on the other side of the street. Even skunks avoided Hally Tosis. But the real trouble started one day when Grandma Tosis stopped by for a cup of tea. And Hally jumped up to say hello. Mr. and Mrs. Tosis were not amused. Something has to be done about that smelly dog, they said. Look at Grandma. His breath smelled so bad, she flipped the chair over. So the next day, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis decided to find a new home for Hally. The children knew that the only way they could save their dog was to get rid of her bad breath. So they took Hally Tosis to the top of a mountain that had a breathtaking view. They hoped that the breathtaking view would take Hally's breath away. Get it? But it didn't. Next, the children took Hally Tosis to a very exciting movie. It was called The Breath of a Salesman. They hoped that all the excitement would leave Hally breathless. But it didn't. Finally, the children took Hally Tosis to a carnival. They hoped that Hally would lose her breath on the speedy roller coaster. Do you think it worked? That idea stunk too. The plans to change Hally's bad breath had failed. Now only a miracle could save Hally Tosis. Sadly, the three friends said goodnight, unaware that a miracle was on the horizon. Later that night, when everyone was sound asleep, two sneaky burglars crept into the Tosis house. The two burglars were tiptoeing through the dark, quiet rooms when suddenly they came upon Hally Tosis. "Yikes!" whispered one burglar. "It's a big, mean, scary dog." "Oh, don't be silly," whispered the other burglar. "That's only a cute little fuzzy puppy." The two burglars giggled at the sight of such a friendly little dog. "That dog couldn't hurt a fly," whispered one burglar. "Come here, Poochie Poochie," whispered the other. So Hally Tosis came over and gave the burglars a big, wet kiss. Slurp. The next morning, the Tosis family awoke to find two burglars passed out cold in their living room floor. It was a miracle. Hally Tosis's breath had saved the family. The Tosis family got a big reward for turning in the crooks, and soon Hally Tosis was the most famous crime-fighting dog in the country. These news articles say, "Hero hound, halts hoodlums. Bad breath bungles burglary. Panting pooch paralyzes prowlers." Hally Tosis had really done a good job. And in the end, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis changed their minds about finding a new home for Hally. They decided to keep their wonderful watchdog after all. Because life without Hally Tosis just wouldn't make any sense. And they spelled sense, S-C-E-N-T-S. Get it? Because sense, like what you smell with your nose, it wouldn't make any sense. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that story by Dav Pilkey. This is Dog Breath, and we'll see you later.